Hi, I'm Sarah from Heirloom Creations, and our ruler of the month once again comes from Creative Grid, the company that provides the non-slip surfaces on the back of all their rulers. Now, this was always an odd size ruler that hangs on our rack, but it is because it cuts multiple sizes of multiple blocks. Now, here behind me is a sampler quilt, which so many times blocks are made up of very simple blocks. Half square triangles, quarter square triangles, and flying geese. This is called a 6-inch flying geese and 45 and 90 degree triangle ruler. So with this, we can cut so many different sizes, all the way up to a 6 by 12 inch flying geese, all the way down to a 1 by 2 little guy, and all the other sizes for the half square triangles and quarter square triangles. I even took from a book I found a smaller block, and I made the block bigger. Now, this is for an upcoming class, and you're going to notice that there are decorative stitches used on the fabric for those particular cuts. And what I did is I went to my sewing machine and stitched out strips of variegated thread on my fabric, so I got a really neat texture going on, and then went ahead and used the ruler because it told me what size I needed to cut them for the particular blocks, and just had a little extra fun. Now, the block that you saw actually was from the Surprise Yourself book by Charlotte Gotti and Deborah Caffrey, as they share simple steps to making fabulous quilts. And that quilt is actually in here, but the block size was only 12 inches. So I'm going to show you all the different ways that you can use this ruler and have it be your one ruler you reach for all the time. Here's that block close up. Check out those decorative stitches. And look, we have flying geese right here. So this was the largest size flying geese we could make with this ruler. It was 6 by 12. Now, because we have all the different sizes, that is wonderful. We can choose anything we want once we learn a little bit about the ruler. First off, everything in black are finished sizes. So if you're looking to do a flying goose, is it goose or geese? Flying geese type block that is a 3 by 6, then you're going to follow along with the directions across that line of what size of strip to cut. It says to cut a 3.5-inch strip. What if you went to your stash and you've been cutting strips from leftover pieces, and like for example, these are 3-inch strips. So from a 3-inch strip, I will be able to get a flying goose block that's 2.5 by 5 inches. So when you're just making scrappy things, that actually fits in with charm squares, so that's not a bad size to kind of be working with. So here's how we're going to do it. First off, we're going to take our strip. Now for the flying geese, we're going to just line up. We're going to cut the middle part first, line it up with the line, and there's a little notch cut off the top. So when you cut, everything will sit together nicely once you have positioned all your pieces together. And then just go back and forth with your ruler and keep cutting pieces, lining up with the line across the edge. So then we'll just go ahead and keep cutting all the way down our strip. And one thing nice with these is we do have straight grain along the edge of our block. Now, once we've done those, then we're going to take the same strip size to cut the side pieces. So now, what we want for the half square triangles is just go ahead, line it up on the 3-inch line, and then cut these. You can do this doubled up so you get everything, all the multiple sizes at once, and just angle back and forth. And once again, this little notch at the top will help you when you go to put these together. Watch this. When this comes together, you just put that point to point, and then the notches sit next to each other, so you know exactly that you're going to be lined up. And same when you start the other side, this notch will just sit perfectly right into that area. So you can make as many of these at many different sizes from any strips that you have in your collection. Here's a trick for doing half square triangles with this ruler. Take your 2 pieces of fabric and lay them right sides together. And if you kind of just press them, the heat of the iron will kind of hold them together. And then as we cut them, we're not going to separate them. This will be exactly how they need to be sewn. So this is a 3-inch strip. So they will finish out 2.5 inches. And all you have to do is rotate them back and forth down your strip. Really quick and easy here. And once again, when you pick this up, just kind of lay them, I kind of crisscross them as I go, and then that way when I get to my sewing machine, it's really easy to pick up each set as I'm ready to sew them. And because they've been cut together, they are ready to sew from corner to corner. For quarter square triangles, what you want to do is figure out what your finished size you want it to be. So that's after seam allowances have actually been used up. So for example, this happens to be a 3-inch strip, so I am going to get a 5-inch block when I'm done. So it's going to finish 5.5 and then it will sew down to 5 inches. So if you know you need a 7-inch finished size block, then you'll come right over here and cut 4-inch strips. Hey, no math, how easy is that? Now once again, if you do want to, or plan ahead, press your strips together, right sides together, and layer them up, and so when you cut, you will be able to take them right to the sewing machine, sew one of the edges, and they will be kept together, and then once again, just flip this around to cut the other side, because we need a total of 4 cuts here, or 4 pieces. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to sew this to this, and that will open up, and then that to that, and then you'll have your quarter square, and once again, straight grain on the outside, so there's going to be no issue with bias edges when you're sewing blocks to blocks. So this ruler is available on our website at heirloomcreations.net.